What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, as I said before, the Clippers and Pelicans matchup is going to be very interesting. I definitely think it's going to be one of those games where you're going to see the best out of both teams. Now, the Clippers definitely had the better team once again in the play-in tournament. I thought the Clippers were better than the Timberwolves because they had more veteran leadership and they had a better head coach. But somehow, you know, Tyler Lue got out-coached and the team got outplayed by a team that I felt like they should have beat in the Timberwolves, even though there was a lot of energy with the Timberwolves, with Patrick Beverley and the whole story behind the Clippers and everything like that. And the celebration was definitely a classic. It was probably the funniest thing I think I ever seen. Kyle Kuzma said it best. The Timberwolves thought they had won a championship or something like that, but damn, they just won a play-in tournament, and it looked like, I was waiting for more like confetti and everything. I was just waiting for, something else to transpire because they took that win to the heart. And I definitely, I'm not hating on them at all. They got the victory. It's been a long time since they've been in the playoffs, so you got to give them credit for what they accomplished. But moving on from that, the Clippers have to take care of business, tonight against the Pelicans. They can't, go out there and be lackadaisical, as I said in yesterday's video. They can't go out there and play with any weaknesses. They got to go out there and be aggressive on both ends of the floor. And as I said before in yesterday's video too, they got to go out there and be aggressive on the defensive end. You got to sit there and be on top of your game as much as possible, because when you think about, the Pelicans, they don't have Zion Williamson, but they do have some really good players. B.I., Brandon Ingram is a good player. Valanciunas is a good player. C.J. McCollum is a good player. So, they have some guys out there who could put the ball in the basket. So the Clippers are going to have to host this game tonight against a team where they're actually coming in with house money, because nobody's expecting the Pelicans to win. Nobody's looking at the Pelicans as a threat. And everybody believes that the Clippers are going to win this game. They're definitely favored, just as they were favored in the last game against the Minnesota Timberwolves, even though they weren't really favored much. But, a lot of people thought they were going to win that game just because of having Paul George and, Norman Powell and all the players that they have. It really didn't make no sense for them to lose, against a team like that. We knew the Wolves were going to put up a good fight, but in the end, the Clippers should have been the team with the victory because they got the best player on the floor in Paul George, and that's supposed to be good enough against a team like the Timberwolves. But it wasn't, and you got to hope tonight against the Pelicans that it is. Otherwise, the Clippers are going home, and we'll have both teams in LA sitting at home watching other teams in the playoffs, which is very weird, very awkward to happen, and really isn't likely to happen. But at the same time, anything can happen, so you don't want to rule anything out. Especially looking at, the game with the Pelicans and the Spurs, even though, that is against the Spurs, that is a well-coached team with Greg Popovich. But to see C.J. McCollum have like 27 or like 30 points, 27 in the first half, I think, or the second half of that game. B.I. had like 27. Valanciunas had like 22 and 10. That's if they put up numbers like that tonight against the Clippers, it is going to be very, very tough. Very, very tough. So, I expect the Clippers to be ready. I expect them to come out there with full energy and knock this team off the way they're supposed to. I expect the Clippers to go out there and dominate, if you ask me. I expect the Clippers to win by at least 10 points, at least that, win by double figures. So, looking at this game and everything, how it's unfolding, they're going to need a lot from, Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris can't have a game like he had last game, with minimal points. He's going to have to at least give 17 to 18 points. Reggie Jackson's going to have to, go back on his grind and turn to the Reggie Jackson of last year in the playoffs, and play like that. And Reggie Jackson to me is starting to look a little tiresome to me. It looked like he's starting to wear down on energy a little bit. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't know. He just looked tired to me these last couple weeks before the season ended and everything. But at the same time, he definitely could redeem himself tonight and going forward. And Paul George is going to have to be a little bit more efficient. Like I said in yesterday's video, I don't want to see 3 for 13, 3 for for 17. No, damn all that. If he gonna be 3 for 17, 3 for 13, and if they lose this game tonight, which I don't believe they will, but if they lose this game tonight against the Pelicans, they might end up trading Paul George. It's just that simple. They just might end up trading him because it's like you have two opportunities to go into a play-in tournament. Even though you don't have Kawhi Leonard, you do have Norman Powell. You do have Robert Covington. You do have, Terrence Mann. You do have Reggie Jackson. You do have Marcus Morris. And I understand some of these players don't always show up the way they're supposed to, but neither does Paul George. I mean, you can say that about every player in the NBA. Every player in the NBA has had moments where they don't show up like they're supposed to, but you have a good enough roster to beat the Pelicans, just as you had a good enough roster that you could have beat the Timberwolves. So if you have a 10 to 15 point lead with 5 to 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, you better close that out. Because if you don't, then it's going to be some shakeups with this team in the offseason probably. Because as I said before, I just don't think Steve Ballmer is going to all these games sitting front row because he can afford tickets. I think he's going there sitting front row because he expects this team to execute the plan and go out there and take care of business and move on to the next challenge. That's what he's sitting out there for. That's what he's putting all this money into this team for. That's what he built the Intuit Arena Stadium for, and all these things that's, transpiring with the Clippers. And the Clippers have to go out there and play like they got some pride. Go out there and play like you're supposed to, and go out there and dominate against a team. Don't go out there and leave nothing unjust or unsaid or incomplete. Go out there and dominate. And that's exactly what needs to happen. It's really no other way to look at it. It's no other way to talk about it. It's no other way to say it. It's no other way to put it. You got to go out there and dominate. Like I said, if B.I., McCollum, and Valanciunas all got 25 points plus, the Clippers are going to have a problem. And they have to find a way to neutralize that. That's the reason why I said coming in this game, defense needs to be more the focal point, even more so than the offense. The Clippers offense will find its way throughout the tenure of the game. I mean, because Paul George, even if he does go 3 for 20 in the second half, he finds a way to catch fire. But I mean, he should find a way to catch fire. If you go 3 for 15, 3 for 20, and you find a way to catch fire in the second half, well, you done took 30 shots. So, I mean, hell, I can get on fire if I take 30 shots. At some point, I'll get hot too. Because it's like, I mean, you miss so many sometime. Hell, sometime the rim looks a little bigger and you hit 1 or 2 shots. Then you find a way to get in rhythm. But I mean, hell, if every player in the NBA had that type of green light, a lot of players would score 35 plus points if they could take 30, 40 shots a game. So I expect Paul George to be more efficient and live up to the playoff P that, he's put himself into. And last year he did, erase some of the doubters. I will give him that. But that's last year's resume. What about this year's resume? I expect him to go out there and play to where it's supposed to. And I expect Paul George to update his resume tonight against the Pelicans and go out there and handle business. Now I'm going to say this, the score for this game, I'm picking the score to be 117 to 107. I'm picking that score for the Clippers to go out there and win. I think the Pelicans are going to put up a good fight. I think CJ McCollum is just going to, definitely has the green light to go off and do what he want to do. I think they might be able to neutralize Valanciunas a little bit more. But even if Valanciunas doesn't really score like that, they got to keep him off the glass because he is a very good underrated rebounder, and he's really, really crafty around the rim too. So if he gets any offensive rebounds, he's good at finishing around the rim, and he's good at kicking it out to the wing or somebody on the wing or on the perimeter for a wide open 3 to knock it down. So I mean, you got to watch out for that too. So I mean, it's going to be a tough game. I believe I think the Clippers will eventually pull away, but it's going to be tough. The first few quarters, especially because this is a game 7 to me of a 7-game series. This is a 1-game elimination. So anything can happen. There's no home court advantage. But even though the Clippers got to go out here and try to find a way to win it. And like I said, I hope Ty Lue has instilled the right message into these guys. Go out there and be aggressive on the defensive end, and the offense will take care of itself. Paul George, you're held accountable. If you go out there and stink it up, you're held accountable for it. And it would be a shame to see the Clippers not get past the play-in tournament with 2 opportunities and the better team and being the team favored in both matchups. It would be a shame to see them not do it. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of weird things happen in sports. So I'm predicting that the Clippers go out here and win it. I believe they can win it. I know they got the better team. I know they got the best player on the floor in Paul George. But me knowing that and them showing it is 2 different things. So I expect the Clippers to go out here, execute, handle business, move on to the next. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.